Yo, Greg, if you could stop f***ing complaining about the heat, it was like the Arctic 12 seconds ago. Oh my God, no! So you want to do an engine swap. If you're watching this video, I want you to know that my heart goes out to you because you're gonna hate it, like your life. It's one of the most challenging things in the world. Your patience is gonna be tested. You're gonna experience a roller coaster of emotions. You might even feel like giving up, starting the whole thing on fire and filing an insurance claim as if that's going to work, which you probably, I mean, it could work, but the odds of you actually getting the insurance money will never pan out. Engine swapping a car is probably one of the most painful things to do. And even though people will say that it's not, it is. I mean, whether you're LS swapping, 2JZ swapping, or anything else under the sun, there's some things that you're gonna probably have to keep in mind if you plan on motor swapping your car. So let's just get this out of the way. It's going to be a pain in the ass. There's just no way around it. If you're swapped an engine before and you tell me that you didn't have issues, you're a liar, because I know that there's gonna be one of you down in the comments saying that you one time swapped an LS7 into your 99 Civic and you had no issues. You can just right off, because there's no f***ing way that actually happened. First things first, you're gonna want to choose your the right engine that you want to jump into. Not every car is gonna be able to handle a lot of the power. Some cars' suspension, their rigidity, or brakes just can't handle a high power engine. So when you're looking for a car to engine swap, people tend to gravitate towards those that have a lighter weight because of the power to weight ratio. That's why Datsuns are such a great platform, in case you guys wanted to know. Also, keep in mind that not every engine swap makes sense, because you can't just take any car and toss any engine into it. Shocking, I know. So if you think you can just find yourself an LS3 and drop it into a 370Z just like that, you probably are gonna wanna reconsider. The same reason that when Dakota ran outside of the building to go grab his phone and now come back in, he can't, because we're filming a video. If you wanna be internet famous, then go for it. But just remember that a lot of engine swaps don't make a ton of sense. So just be mindful and do your research when you're looking at a car to start your project. The engine is a little bit like, trickier. Obviously, you're gonna have to opt for a high horsepower application, because if you're engine swapping, you're not gonna go to a smaller horsepower engine platform because you're not a nerd. You can find a pretty good chunk of information on the internet. The first step is actually researching whether an engine will fit in a certain car, and sometimes you end up having to go down the rabbit hole, and the next thing you know, you're thinking about spending $50,000 on a setup, and it just doesn't make sense, but you wanna be internet famous. So, I mean, it could be a possible chance. Anyway, if you can't find it on the internet, you're gonna have to do some measuring. You're gonna have to make sure that if it clears the hood, that it's not gonna sit too low on the ground or scrape the oil pan across the road whenever you drive the car. There's firewalls, shock towers that get in the way, your new engine fitting actually getting into place, your cooling, all that sort of stuff is actually gonna matter, which if you don't care about that, right? If you're just here to say, send it, you can send it. You're just not gonna send it well. Because once you actually do all that and you realize that it doesn't fit, you're gonna have a terrible time. You're gonna cut everything, you're gonna hammer everything. I remember doing it. You're gonna hammer absolutely everything to make something fit, and then you're gonna wonder why your actual gas pedal leg doesn't fit appropriately with the gas pedal, because there's this hammered out section in the tunnel because your dumbass thought it was a great idea to hammer out your tunnel well, and it just didn't pan out. Besides firewalls and shock towers getting in the way, there's a couple other things that you have to take into consideration, like the seating of the actual motor. There are things that can't be moved out of the way at all unless you relocate them, like batteries and radiators. So once you've figured out all of that, you're pretty much good to go, right? I mean, no, because you're gonna have to think about accompanying wiring harness, manifolds, ECU, stuff like alternators, starters, distributors. You will have to think about the transmission. Shocking, I know. Usually it's just to stick with any of the same manufacturer of the engine, which makes sense, but then you actually have to place that stuff into the car, which does not always line up. If you imagine that you have an engine that's about kaput length, and then you have a transmission that adds about kaput length, and your car is only kaput length, you're gonna have some issues. Your old exhaust is also gonna have to be a pain in the because it's more than likely gonna have to come apart and get reassembled, and you can't just go buy an exhaust kit. You have to go get one fabricated because it's different, just like you're different, because it just has to be unique because you decided to engine swap your car. Then you're gonna have to think about actually tucking your wires and making sure that they don't, light on fire, because anytime you motor swap a car, there's wires all over the place. And then you end up wiring it to the point of where you wouldn't be able to access it again if you needed to, so you better pray that you do it right the first time. Now, you might scream and throw tools across, your neighbor's yard and get really mad because you're having a panic attack because of everything that's happening, but you'll be fine, because once you figured out how to get the old engine out and you figured out how to get the new engine in and fit everything into the place, you're gonna have to get new brackets that match your engine. You're gonna have to get new mounting points to match all the stuff to. You're gonna have to figure out good other things that you never thought you'd have to think about before, like fuses and different stuff and gas lines and your gauges and making sure all that stuff works because you decided to engine swap a car. You're gonna have to figure out how to communicate with the new engine with an ECU, which could be as simple as a cable swap, or could end up being an entirely electronic controlled throttle body, which is about as fun as it sounds. Some vehicles have adapter kits out there as well, which is good depending on what sort of engine you're swapping into the car, but it doesn't always pan out that way. And a lot of times you have to remember that all of this comes together into this behemoth, this Frankenstein, this thing that you think works or pray works. Once you've actually figured out how to get everything running and then the power to the wheels, and you figured out how to mate everything to the car without zip ties is cheating, you have to also think about the cooling then, which is gonna be terrible because there's likely no room for it. The radiator hoses and heat and all that sort of stuff are usually needs to be done custom to the vehicle. You're gonna end up finding yourself that the AC and the power steering are probably not gonna match up with it either, which means that it's probably going to have to go. I'm sorry. Mechanical steering pumps might not fit with the hood, and AC compressors just won't fit with it either. It's another thing to totally be dependent on what car and what platform you end up using, but more than likely you're gonna find yourself with less hair than you did when you started, and you're gonna have none of the amenities that you once had because it's gonna be a pain in the ass. You wanna know why? Would you like to know why? It's because you decided to engine swap your car. Now there might be some purists out there saying, no, you can do it without a problem. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's probably swapped them terrible in the past. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just, I'm being real with you guys, okay? If you don't use a hammer and you don't have 6 rolls of electrical tape while you're engine swapping a car, you just haven't gotten to the hard part yet. You can pretty much expect nothing to go right and you'll be fine. And let's not forget about the fact of that one guy, that one thing, it's like an umbrella, it kind of encompasses our roads, it's called, I think, the government, and they love us, and are totally legal, not obnoxious, under the radar cars and modifications. Like when you finally get your air suspension and drive around as low as possible, and the next thing you know, you're stopped on the side of the road looking at your rear view because there's a blaring red and blue light. Cops don't like engine swap cars because usually it's pretty easy to tell that they're highly illegal. So if you live in a state that actually cares, California, you're probably not gonna have the best of times. So when swapping an engine, it has to meet both the emissions for itself and the car.
You should all swap it. I was standing outside, sorry, and I had to think of a creative way to interrupt.
So now that you've thought about all of that and your brain is hurting just as much as mine, and you're sitting there contemplating your life choices because you probably already bought the thing that you end up swapping because you're 20 years old and you thought it'd be a great idea to do while you're in college, let me just reassure you that everything is going to be okay. We promise, because don't panic. All you need is a little bit of patience, a lot of beer, some friends, and you'll be fine. Engine swapping your car is actually one of the most hilariously fun and exciting things you can do to a car if you're willing to take the risk. And if you don't mind your garage looking like a bomb just went off in it because there's parts everywhere and your 10 mil is somehow gone every 6 minutes, you're going to enjoy engine swapping a car. Now, it probably won't be the most enjoyable thing in the world. Your friends will probably make fun of you because it's broken all the time. But when it finally gets running, when it finally is behaving the way it's supposed to, when it's finally finished and it looks like it's supposed to, and it's driving and it's cooling and the speedometer works and the turn signals are working and the transmission isn't grinding and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, this is so exciting. You're gonna realize that you forgot to change your fuel pump and you're gonna run out of fuel because you have no gas in your gas tank. I've done that before. We hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to check out fitmentindustries.com if you're looking for wheels, tires, suspension. Drop a comment if you've ever engine swapped a car, or if you haven't and you're thinking about it, let us know what you think. Otherwise, if you want to give us some video ideas, we're about it. I don't care. It'd be a pretty exciting thing to do. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We will see you later. Peace.